and it is exciting time in Cleveland right now. We got more exciting news for Browns fans. Pair Kevin Stefanski himself, we'll get into that. Also, lots of people praising Shedeur Sanders for his Week 1 performance, but is it even better than we thought? I'll give you the specific details on why I'm saying that. Also, Dylan Gabriel injury update for you, tell you how that impacts the quarterback room right now, and the Browns waived a promising young wide receiver. But before we get into all that, real quick, here's some more photo proof of my lifelong Cleveland Browns fandom. There I am, a young 3-year-old Joey-O, repping the dog.
Kevin Stefanski just dropped a bombshell. Shedeur Sanders is getting a ton of reps against the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles this Saturday. But here's what nobody's talking about. While everyone's celebrating his 23 two-touchdown debut, they're missing the real story. This kid didn't just play well against Carolina. He was playing behind a completely backup offensive line against starting NFL defenders with zero protection. And he still made throws that veteran quarterbacks struggle with. LeBron James was tweeting about him. 158,000 people crashed the watch party. And now Dylan Gabriel is scrambling to catch up after missing Week 1. The pressure is mounting, the hype is real, and Saturday might be the day that changes everything for Cleveland's future. Look, I'm going to be straight with you guys. What we witnessed Friday night wasn't just another preseason game. This was a statement, a declaration, a 5th-round pick telling the entire NFL establishment that they messed up. Big time. But before we dive deep into why Saturday against Philadelphia is absolutely crucial, let me paint you the picture of what really happened against Carolina. Because the mainstream media, they're completely missing the point. When Shedeur Sanders stepped onto that field Friday night, he wasn't walking into some cushy situation. Oh no, Kevin Stefanski threw this kid to the Wolves. And guess what? The Wolves got eaten alive. Here's what they're not telling you. Cleveland played 0 offensive line starters. Not one. We're talking about complete backups protecting a rookie quarterback making his NFL debut. And who was he facing? Carolina's starting defense in the first quarter. These aren't scrubs. These are grown men who've been in the league, who've been hitting people for years. Most rookies would have crumbled. Most experienced quarterbacks would have struggled. But not Shedeur. Not Primetime's son. That first quarter? Yeah, it looked rough. Couple of scoreless drives, pressure in his face constantly. But here's the thing that separates the pretenders from the contenders: adaptation. While other quarterbacks would have panicked, Shedeur was studying, learning, calculating. Then came the second quarter, and that's when the magic happened. Let me walk you through exactly why these touchdown passes have NFL scouts scrambling to reevaluate their draft boards. First touchdown. There are 3 Panthers defenders in the vicinity. 3. Any normal quarterback either throws it away or forces a dangerous pass. But watch Shedeur's eyes. He's not panicked. He's not rushed. He identifies the perfect window and threads the needle with surgical precision. The ball has to be high enough to clear the defender's outstretched hands, but not so high that it sails over his receiver. That's NFL-level accuracy, folks. But the second touchdown? That's where you see the championship DNA. There's a defender right in his face. 0 time. Most quarterbacks would have taken the sack or thrown it away. Instead, Shedeur steps to the right, uses his mobility to create space. And here's the key. His eyes never leave the downfield targets. He's not scrambling to run. He's buying time to make a play. And when he releases that ball, perfect placement. Low and away from the defender, exactly where only his receiver can get it. That's not luck. That's not beginner's fortune. That's elite quarterback instincts showing up in his very first NFL action.
Steps over to the right, evades the pressure. Now he's bought himself a little bit more time and can make a play. And look at his eyes. They're still downfield, right? He's not worried about the Panthers, what's going on around him. He has the awareness to get out of the way when he needed to. And he's looking downfield still. And that's when he throws this perfect football in a tight window. Again, the absolute perfect spot that it needs to be. It's low and away from the defender. He couldn't put it too high, otherwise, look at all the defenders in the area. They might have got a tip on it. Shedeur puts it in the exact right.
You want to know why that completion percentage at Colorado wasn't just a fluke? Because Shedeur Sanders doesn't throw checkdowns. He doesn't pad stats. He throws the ball where it needs to be, when it needs to be there, under pressure that would break most college quarterbacks. Now here's where things get spicy, and this is breaking as of just hours ago. Despite that masterclass performance, despite the national attention, despite LeBron James literally tweeting about him. Shedeur Sanders is still listed as the 4th quarterback on Cleveland's depth chart, 4th, behind Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and Dylan Gabriel. Let that sink in. A rookie just put on a clinic against NFL defenders, showed poise that veterans dream of having, and he's still sitting at number 4? But here's the plot twist that changes everything. According to the latest reports, neither Flacco nor Pickett will play against Philadelphia on Saturday. That means it's rookie battle time. Sanders versus Gabriel, the kid they passed over in the draft versus the guy they selected first. And Dylan Gabriel? The pressure is immense right now. He missed the first preseason game with a hamstring injury, watched Shedeur steal all the headlines, and now he's got to prove he deserves that higher draft position. Talk about must-see television. Here's what makes this Eagles matchup absolutely crucial. They're not just any team. They're the defending Super Bowl champions. This is the gold standard of NFL football right now, and Cleveland is sending their rookie quarterbacks into joint practices Wednesday and Thursday, followed by the preseason game Saturday. Kevin Stefanski confirmed that Shedeur will get a ton of reps in this game. Translation? They want to see if Friday night was real, or if it was beginner's luck against a Panthers team that might not have been fully engaged. But here's what I love about Shedeur's mindset. This kid has been underestimated his entire life. 5th round pick, please. He's got that chip on his shoulder that champions are made of. And his father, Dylan Sanders, has been vocal about how the league slept on his son. You think Shedeur's intimidated by Philadelphia's defense? This is the same quarterback who thrived under pressure at Colorado, who led the FBS in completion percentage not by throwing safe passes, but by being surgically accurate under duress. Dylan Gabriel returned to practice for 11 on 11 drills, which means Saturday's game just became appointment television. The Browns essentially have 2 rookie quarterbacks competing for the future of the franchise, and Gabriel knows he's already behind in the public perception battle. Think about Gabriel's situation right now. He was drafted higher. He was supposed to be the more polished prospect, and then he misses the first game while Shedeur goes out and becomes the talk of the NFL. Now he's got to walk into joint practices against the Super Bowl champions and prove he deserves consideration. This is exactly what preseason should be about. Not watching veterans go through the motions, but seeing young talent battle it out under real NFL pressure. And with Shedeur's performance Friday creating this massive wave of excitement, Gabriel's got to match or exceed that energy. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the attention. LeBron James tweeting, 158,000 people watching the preseason watch party. Dylan Sanders celebrating on social media. This level of attention for a 5th-round rookie in his first preseason game? That's unprecedented. But here's what that attention really means. It's validation that people see something special. You don't get that kind of organic excitement unless there's substance behind it. And the fact that it's building momentum heading into the Eagles' week? That's box office material right there. The Browns front office has to be loving this. They took a flyer on a 5th-round pick, and suddenly he's generating more buzz than some first-round quarterbacks ever get. That's the kind of lightning in a bottle moment that can define franchises. Here's where the psychology gets interesting. Shedeur's performance didn't just elevate his own stock. It put pressure on everyone else in that quarterback room. Kenny Pickett, who Cleveland acquired in a trade, is now watching a rookie grab headlines. Joe Flacco, the veteran presence, sees a kid playing with confidence that he's been trying to recapture for years. But it's Gabriel who's really feeling the heat. Because as recently as Monday, despite Shedeur's performance, the Browns were still non-committal about quarterback roles. Kevin Stefanski specifically said he's not there on the game itself when asked about Saturday's starting lineup. That's coach speak for show me more. And with joint practices Wednesday and Thursday, giving both rookies multiple opportunities to prove themselves, this week is essentially an extended audition against elite competition. Let me get technical for a minute about why Shedeur's performance has scouts reevaluating everything. It wasn't just the statistics. 14 of 23, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 106.8 passer rating. It was how he achieved those numbers. Pocket presence under immediate pressure? Check. Eyes staying downfield while extending plays? Check. Ball placement in tight windows? Check. Mobility when needed without abandoning the primary reads? Check. These aren't skills you can teach in a few weeks. This is football IQ that's been developed over years of playing in high-pressure situations. And when you combine that with the accuracy he showed at Colorado, leading the FBS in completion percentage, you're looking at a skill set that translates to any level. You can't talk about Shedeur without acknowledging the Deion factor. Having a Hall of Fame father who understands the mental side of professional sports at the highest level is an advantage you can't quantify. But it's not just about the name recognition. It's about the preparation. Dylan Sanders has been preparing Shedeur for moments exactly like this his entire life. The pressure of national attention? He's been dealing with that since high school. The expectation to perform under scrutiny? That's been his reality for years. When most rookies are overwhelmed by the moment, Shedeur thrives in it. That's not accident. That's preparation meeting opportunity. Here's what Saturday's game against Philadelphia really determines. Not just who starts the third preseason game, but who becomes the face of Cleveland's future. Because while Joe Flacco might start week 1 of the regular season, everyone knows the Browns drafted these rookies to be the long-term answer. The winner of this weekend's quarterback battle doesn't just move up the depth chart, they position themselves as the heir apparent to the franchise. And with the way Shedeur played Friday, combined with the massive attention it generated, he's already got momentum on his side. But Gabriel's got something to prove, and nothing motivates athletes like feeling overlooked. This setup is absolutely perfect for creating must-see television. Joint practices against Super Bowl champions, followed by a preseason game with national attention. This is the kind of environment where careers are made or broken. It's one thing to perform well against Carolina's defense in a preseason setting. It's completely different to maintain that level of play against Philadelphia's championship-caliber players in multiple sessions. But if there's one thing we learned Friday night, it's that Shedeur Sanders doesn't shrink in big moments. If anything, he seems to elevate his game when the stakes are highest. Cleveland's front office has to be thrilled with this situation. They went into the season expecting to rely on veteran leadership while slowly developing their rookies. Instead, they've got a 5th-round pick generating legitimate quarterback controversy after one preseason game. That's the kind of problem every NFL team wants to have. But it's also the kind of situation that demands careful handling. Rush Shedeur too fast, and you risk stunting his development. Wait too long, and you risk losing the momentum of what could be a special talent. What makes Saturday's matchup so compelling is the level of competition. Philadelphia's defense isn't just good, they're championship caliber. They know how to pressure rookie quarterbacks, how to create confusion, how to force mistakes. If Shedeur can perform at even 80% of what he showed against Carolina, against this level of competition, then we're talking about a legitimate NFL quarterback. Not a project, not a developmental player, a guy who could contribute immediately. And that's what makes this so exciting for Browns fans. They've been waiting for quarterback stability for decades. Could a 5th-round rookie be the answer they've been searching for? Here's the storyline that's developing, and it's Hollywood material. 5th-round pick gets disrespected in the draft, ignored by the media, buried on the depth chart. Gets his first opportunity and immediately shows he belongs. Now faces his biggest test against the defending champions with the chance to completely flip the script. That's the kind of underdog story that captures people's imagination. And with Shedeur's personality, his background, his father's legacy, all the pieces are there for something special. But let's be honest about what's at stake here. This isn't just about preseason games or depth chart positioning. This is about the direction of the entire franchise. Cleveland has been searching for their franchise quarterback for years. They've tried veterans, draft picks, trades. Nothing has provided long-term stability. But what if the answer was sitting there in the 5th round all along? What if while other teams were overthinking the quarterback position, Cleveland found their guy with a value pick that everyone else passed on? That's the question Saturday's game starts to answer. And based on what we saw Friday night, Browns fans have every reason to be optimistic. Saturday against Philadelphia isn't just another preseason game. It's a statement opportunity. A chance for Shedeur Sanders to prove that Friday night wasn't a fluke, that he belongs in the conversation, that Cleveland might have found something special in the 5th round. With Dylan Gabriel healthy and ready to compete, with the national media watching, with the defending Super Bowl champions providing the opposition, all the elements are there for something memorable. The kid who was supposedly overlooked in the draft gets his chance to show the entire NFL that they made a mistake. in Philadelphia, against the champions. With the spotlight burning bright, are you ready for what might be the most important preseason game in recent Browns history? Because Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern, we find out if Shedeur Sanders is ready for primetime. And based on what we've seen so far, my money's on the kid with ice in his veins and championship DNA in his blood. What do you think happens Saturday? Does Shedeur continue his magical run, or does Gabriel steal back the spotlight? Drop your predictions in the comments. SS for Shedeur Sanders, DG for Dylan Gabriel. And if you want to catch all the action and analysis, make sure you hit that subscribe button because this quarterback battle is just getting started, and you don't want to miss what happens next.